Welcome back, everybody, to the Successful Events podcast. Today's episode is going to be all about the difference in who is an event host versus who is an event planner. So I'm excited to dive into this with you and get to clarify these things and also to help you understand that you can also be both. You can be one or the other. You can bring on a coordinator. You can bring volunteers. There's so many different aspects, but really understanding who is an event host, who is an event planner, and that you can be both too. So let's get started. Welcome, everybody, to the Successful Events Podcast, your go-to podcast for hosting impactful, purpose-driven events. I'm your host, Kat Roten, an event strategist and logistics expert, here to help you plan and execute events with confidence. You'll hear from top industry experts sharing the latest trends, live coaching calls with myself and fellow community members, and of course, my personal favorite, strategies to help you stay true to your vision without the burnout while you're event planning. But here's the thing, your event isn't just about the details. It's a time to celebrate your hard work, to show up fully in your energy at your event, and to lead with confidence. That's why we focus on self-care, intentionality, and making sure your event aligns with your purpose so it doesn't just look good, but it also feels good for you too. Let's simplify the process and make it unforgettable. It's so wonderful to be back. Let me just tell you, recording these episodes has been fun and bringing me a new light of joy that I kind of forgot podcasting did. And I think at the end, to be completely honest, of Imperfectly Impactful, I was a little, I don't know what you would say, caught up in just trying to get things out. I was doing 2 to 3 episodes a week, and it just didn't make sense with my business per se. I was loving everything I did. It just didn't fully align and be cohesive, like I've talked about a few times. So I'm so excited to be back. And today, this topic is, I had to do it as the second episode because I went on Instagram Live in the middle end of January, and I had this discussion because I had somebody tell me who was an event host that she never considered herself an event host. I'm like, are you hosting your own events? And they were breathwork events. And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, you're an event host. You are hosting it. And you're also the planner, which we'll get into here in a little bit. The other aspect of this was also the fact that I was on a call with a company and she was talking about meeting planners, event planners. And she's like, you keep saying event host and that's the name of your community. Who's an event host? And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I just need to clarify this with people. So this is the episode for me to clarify this with you as you're listening, and anyone else who decides to listen in or watch me on YouTube. I feel like I'm glowing, by the way, if you're on YouTube and watching this. It's quite funny. So let's dive in. So an event host and event planner. I think most everyone knows who an event planner is. An event planner is somebody, I'm even one myself. I have been in the corporate world, previous life of mine. And what we do is we plan it start to finish. We handle all the details, all the communication. We handle all the back and forth of making decisions, not always making that decisions ourselves, but we are the one kind of handling that communication. We're the one getting the nitty-gritty details finalized out, making sure invoices are paid, making sure everything is tracked and everything is completed. And honestly, if you really wanted to get down to exactly what an event planner is, we're just managing a project. We're project managers. Just simple as that. But that's an event planner. I think everyone knows that. An event host, on the other hand, is going to be somebody who is the one hosting the event. So they are the name, they are the face, they are the person that is really ultimately putting it on for their community, their clients, their X, Y, and Z. And this can even come into, and I just want to clarify this if you're listening, if it's easier for you to think about a Christmas party, let's say, or a birthday party, there's usually somebody that's hosting that. For example, I just got done with a baby shower. That was on Sunday that I was helping with my mother-in-law. It's my sister-in-law having another baby. And she was the host. My mother-in-law was the host of that event. And that's probably the easiest and simplest way. But when you bring this into your business, when you bring this into your life and the impact you're trying to make and the influence in the world, you are an event host. When you are putting on the event, that you are stepping on stage, that you are the face of it, that people are coming for you, your community is coming for you, and your clients are coming for you. Now, on the other side of this, you are also potentially the planner. And that is where right now what I've created and what I am working on is really bridging this gap of where there are so many people who are not only hosting, but they're planning events as well. And it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of energy. And so you are not only hosting and need to show up in this full energy at the event, but then you're also having to plan all the details and make sure everything's lined up and in place leading up to the event. So that simple as that. And it is an event host and an event planner. I don't like to overcomplicate things, but I do want you to know that you can be one or the other. You might be listening in and you're an event host. You might be listening in and you're an event planner, actually. You might be listening in and you are both, because that's mostly a few who I talk to. And that's okay. The other flip side of this episode that I do want to talk about is the fact that if you are a host and the planner at the same time, is bringing people into your world to help you. You either need to, and this is a foundational question, a foundational aspect that you need to answer at the very beginning stages. And that is, do I hire on a planner to help me start to finish? You are more than welcome to delegate all those tasks and have somebody help you. And then you ultimately are just making decisions and guiding them to make sure that you bring your vision to life. Biggest thing when you do have a planner is please make sure that they understand they're putting your event together. And then you don't have to do that. You could be like, no, I'm good. Like, I'm fine doing the planning. I'm fine doing all of that. But I need help the last few weeks. Or I need help day of during execution. And that is something, for example, like I have done and I do enjoy doing actually, is taking over those last 30 days. And there are people out there that do just day of coordination as well, that you can bring them in so that for the event, you can show up hopefully in your full energy, but they're managing all the behind the scenes, all the moving parts, anything that's happening of setup and teardowns and flips of rooms and making sure vendors are getting there on time and speakers and sponsors are where they need to be when you need them to be. They handle all of that. And that's a huge thing I recommend for you to have no matter what. The other option is to have volunteers. And I'm just going to add this as my little snippet for you. Is volunteers are amazing and you need volunteers. And volunteers are a great way to get your community and even some clients involved in the event and let them support you and see the other side behind the scenes of what's going on. And you need someone leading those volunteers, and it can not be you. Small events, it could be you. But when you start to get to that 30, 40, 50 people and beyond, you've got to pass off and have someone in charge that's managing all the volunteers, managing the people, and managing even you to keep you on track so that while you can go, you're not having to keep time, you're networking, you're connecting, and there's somebody to kind of guide you and be like, all right, it's time to restart, we're going to regroup, all the things. So volunteers are amazing. I do recommend if you're going to do this, have a head volunteer and have somebody that is going to step up and show up. That is the other key, because they're doing this for free, is make sure that they are showing up. You might even want them to sign a contract. I'm a huge contract person, but I'm not going to get into that in this episode. Get them to sign a contract, get them to show up. If you are not confident that there is somebody in your world right now that will show up 100% no matter what, obviously there's emergencies, but then you need to probably find a coordinator, at least a day of coordinator that can take over for you, if not somebody that can take over those last few weeks. Because the other thing you have to think about are all the details as a planner leading up to the event. And you as the host need to be able to show fully up in your energy, to network, to connect, to pour into everybody, and then also be able to receive, like I talked about in my last episode. So think about this, sit on it. Do you want to be the event host and planner? Do you want to just be the host and hire out the planner? Maybe you're a planner and you're seeking event hosts. Hopefully this gives you some clarification there. Are you someone who wants to do the hosting and planning up to a certain point or up until actually day of, and then delegate out tasks to some volunteers, hire a coordinator? You get to make that decision ultimately that's right for you. And I'm going to tell you that you probably are going to have to go through one to really know what the right direction is for you. And then as you grow, as you scale, as you expand your event, if it gets bigger, you're going to have to lean on other people. Just like within business, you have to start delegating because you can't do it all yourself and be able to show up in your life, in your business, taking care of yourself, and putting on this event. I hope this episode was helpful for you. I really think it's important to make sure that you understand who is an event host and who is an event planner. It is so, so, so key for you. But just remember that every event is an extension of you and your business. Just keep it simple. Do not overcomplicate things. Find support when you need it, and let's take the next step with confidence. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you enjoyed this conversation, don't miss our weekly newsletter, The Successful Events Insider. It's the best way to stay connected so you never miss an episode, you hear special announcements, or behind-the-scenes updates. Each week, I take what we cover here on the podcast, and I'll dive even a little bit deeper and give you a little bit more behind the scenes of what is going on in my life and the events world. So join us inside the Successful Events Insider. There's a link below in the show notes. Get the support, the strategies, and the inspiration you need to make your next event your best one yet.